welcome back to Open Pagan Church. Alright, we got Discord up and running. Good morning, Discord, and hello, people, too, in our chat area.
Good morning.
Alright, well,
Good morning.
hope everyone's doing well, or, as well can be in these times, right? That'll be good afternoon to Debbie. Looks like Cindy posted the non-expiring link to our Discord podcast. Click on that if you want to be heard. So,
And Dave's with us.
Yep. Got Dave with us this morning. Well, there comes a point where you gotta kind of look around you and you gotta kind of go, what the hell?
And Dave's with us.
Yeah. At the time of this video broadcast, March 22nd, 2020, over half of the globe right now is on a quarantine lockdown because of a nasty little bug that is attacking people. Nope, it's not the zombie apocalypse. And from the standpoint of Open Pagan Church, and I'm sure I speak for anyone and everyone that's a part of who we are and what we do and what we stand for, social distancing is absolutely working. Wash your hands. Don't, and I say this because it's been done, don't swab your nose with hand cleaner. Wash your hands. Be smart. Don't buy up all the damn toilet paper. Leave some for someone else. So that's my say on it. Anybody else have any words of encouragement to those people who may be quarantined?
Yes, sir, I do. Keep in contact with people, even though you've been quarantined. Shout out to them, internet, on the phone, or somewhere. It'll keep the depression down.
Absolutely, and this is something that people need to remember. We've all, a lot of us, most of us, have neighbors. And if you notice that people are not acting the way they normally do, you can, now I'm not telling you to, but you can walk over and knock on your neighbor's door and say, hey, just doing a social check, you don't have to open the door, just want to be sure everybody's okay.
That's a funny story real quick. I went out in the front yard yesterday, and everybody in my neighborhood is out in the front yard. And we're all sitting there, how you doing? Like, with distance. It was cute, like the good old days.
Well, that's good. I mean, neighbors need to check on neighbors, right?
God, it's hot in here.
Turn on the air conditioner. Open a window. Yeah, so, I mean, my God, come on. We've got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got email, we got, oh my God, we got FetLife, we've got
Skype.
Drum. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
we got telephones, we got text, we got, and here's the funny part. Nobody wants to talk to anybody as long as they can. Now, how many times back in the day when we had Circle would we be sitting around in circle, and there would be 6 or 8 people sitting in circle, texting and messaging each other, sitting in circle?
Yeah, I remember those.
Now that that's all they got, all right?
Over here.
You can't go to circle, right? Somebody needs to mute their mic. They got a lot of background.
Dave,
You can't go to circle and be safe. Okay, so now let's get into texting and social networking and say, hey, just checking on you, see how you doing, right? Check on your neighbor, and that does kind of sorta. Let's see. Well, and see, Debbie, I totally get that. Debbie says, as someone in 3 of the at-risk groups, I'm not going near anyone. Yeah, I totally understand that. Okay, I'm not saying somebody that has emphysema, COPD, or any serious respiratory issues get out and run amok and start running up and down the road knocking on doors. I'm just saying, be nice to people. My God. And I went to Walmart yesterday. I've been going to Walmart every day and picking up call-in orders because of stuff they were out of. And I heard, and I'm going to use the word, I heard a nasty bitch sitting on my right-hand side in her car fussing at a young man simply because he was trying to load her order and wasn't loading it according to her standards of what she thought should be done. And she's sitting in the front seat of her car screaming at him where to put stuff. And he's like, ma'am, I'm doing the best I can. She said, aren't you listening to what I'm telling you? She couldn't see what the f*** he was doing. These people don't have to be there. They don't have to load your stuff. Jeez Louise. Play nice. Say thank you. Anyway. Get me on a tangent, boy. People trying to be nice and people want to be an asshole. Go ahead.
I digress. We digress. Back on topic.
I am digressed. What are you talking about? Yanking your leg. Don't yank my leg. I may have to stand on it. If you yank my leg, I may fall. Anyway. And that really, we are actually, are we not? We are kind of actually on topic. If anybody has read the topic, does harm none work in all pagan paths? I will say that again for those who don't like to read. Does harm none work in all pagan paths, and why? Speak, you wise ones in chat and in Discord. What do you think? Oh, what? Was that a whip?
I'll be Dave.
Huh.
Are you back, Dave? That's not. Harm knee one.
Harm me
Well,
one.
and
I like that.
And the shaman path or us? No, we will not harm none, unless it's justification wise to me.
Well, justification. Okay, I get that. I don't want to get into the actual debate of where the justification comes in.
No, right now, just as the subject we have harm no none. Yes, it We don't do that.
I just made a face to Debbie's statement, so there you go. If you're not watching the video, you should, because that may be funny. Anyway, yes, absolutely.
But we are old, Debbie.
Hey.
Oh, it's Lester.
Uh-oh.
Morning.
Uh-oh. Speaking of old, it's Lester. No,
I
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I texted him. I said, "Come join us."
Right. So,
no.
okay. Harm none, is that just humans or all life forms? And see, that's actually a good question, Deb. That would depend on the path of the individual that follows it. This was the whole purpose for this topic, is mainstream society, bless their hearts, that don't know any better. We've got people running around that have not been educated, if you will, and they're spouting, harm none, do as you will. Harm none, do as you will. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Hang on. If someone broke into your house and you have, I don't want to use a gun, so I'll use an iron skillet. Okay, pretty much everybody's got skillets, frying pans, pots, whatever. Someone broke into your house and you're there, and you've got a frying pan in your hand. Are you going to harm none?
I don't think so. Who cares about the frying pan? Get the gun out.
I'm gonna jack somebody up.
Keep a baseball bat by the side of the door, bro.
Me and you.
I got all kinds of throwing stars and knives and stuff. I could take care of them.
Yep. But see, here's the thing, that the whole harm none, and I like it. I understand the philosophy behind it. I really do. But the question, in keeping with the question, because the last thing I want to do is get into a pissing contest with a bunch of different pagan paths out there. Because open pagan church, we're just that word. Pagan church, we talk about everything. But does harm none follow all paths? And at what point does harm none become a moot point? Tibby says, let me think about that. No. Well, Lester, you're Catholic.
Okay.
I've known you long enough to know you don't just set out to go out and hurt people.
Well, yeah, this is true.
Okay.
But I will defend mine and my own.
Right. And I'm shaman. Our philosophy is you don't just set out to hurt people. You know, if someone pisses me off, I'm just either gonna just bugger off, or I'm gonna ask them about it face to face, and we can either talk about it or we can do whatever needs to be done.
We can throw down.
Well, that works too. I just don't throw down as much as I used to.
Yeah, but one thing though is being totally humiliated in front of a lot of people. Like, and I mean, there's certain there's certain anyway, there's just certain lines you don't cross. Oh.
Well, I get where you're going, Dave. I've been humiliated in front of they tried to humiliate me in front of the entire pagan community down south a couple of times. And it all comes down, I guess, to the way we respond. It kind of goes back to cause and effect. It kind of goes back to action or reaction. And I understand what you're talking about, because you and I have spoken about some past issues before. And yeah, I mean, but even still, the term, and society needs to know this, and non followers of the harm none path need to know this. People that are just getting into pagan philosophy or wanting to learn about it and know what it is, they need to understand that there are hundreds and hundreds of different pagan denominations, and we don't all follow the same spoken creed. And at what point does harm none cease to function? Right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, what if the cavemen, back in the caveman days, or back in, old China days, whatever, what if they said that? You know what I mean? The Genghis Khan's coming. Oh, harm none. We're just going to let them kill us.
Well, and see, it's like Debbie said, I won't go out of my way to hurt anyone. But, happens by accident on occasion. And yes, this is the absolute thing. We live in a momentum-based world, okay? If a wee tiny snowball starts bouncing out of the mountains, by the time it gets to the bottom, the damn thing could be an avalanche or a big monster size 50-foot or 100-foot diameter snowball. Well, my point to that is, I think that there are more people that set out on their daily, day-to-day thing that don't set out to hurt people. They set out to live their lives, and bless their hearts, some of them don't have sense enough to rub two pennies together and come up with heat. And some people go through life and they don't even think. Case in point, in a momentum-based world, you get up, you get in your car, you get ready to go to work, you run a red light. Well, you didn't get up that morning and say, I'm going to run that red light and hurt people. But that's what happens. So you didn't get up saying in your mind, I'm going to see how many people I can harm. So if we think about that, we get wrapped up in life, and harm none does not, right? Harm none does not follow all paths. We've got all of the folk who follow the Fae path that I've met. They, like most others, believe in, don't set out to hurt someone. But it's not a concrete philosophy of harm none, period. Also true.
Unless, of course,
Go ahead.
Unless, of course, you're a Buddhist.
Well, yeah. Unless I miss my guess, but now, Buddhist is not actually a religion, but it's a discipline. Right?
It's not actually a what?
Buddhism is not actually a religion, but it's a discipline.
It's both.
It doesn't have a deity.
It's a religion based on the discipline of the mind.
Alright, yeah, I see where you're going with that. But Buddhism doesn't really actually have a deity structure. And yes, I'm getting IMs and messages from different areas going, Buddhism is a religion. Well, by definition, it's not. Buddha was never received God status. Buddha never received deity status. Buddhists that I have talked to through the years themselves state Buddha is not a god. Buddha is a teacher. Buddha never received God status. But anyway.
I don't think Jesus wanted God status either.
Do what, Lester?
I said we drop the religion statement and call it a path.
Right.
It's a path of discipline.
Yeah, I get that. I'm right there with you on that. And, you know, on the Jesus topic, I absolutely don't want to get stuck off on that one because that one will take us way down a rabbit hole. But my point was, and yes, I agree with Lester. The Buddhist monks, I would love to have trained in a Buddhist monastery for several years. I would love to have trained. Those guys will mess you up. They will absolutely jack up your world. But Buddhists, and I think you'll agree with me here, Buddhists don't go out looking for trouble. Right?
In the Buddhist path, they respect all living things from the smallest minute animal or creature to man. Plain as...
Right. But Buddhists don't, yeah, but if you attack a Buddhist temple, then the show is on.
Not necessarily. The Buddhists are truly pacifists. They will not fight back. Now, you're mixing up the... I'm going to use the religion word again. You're mixing up the religion of Buddhism in India with the religion of Buddhism in Japan. In Japan, it was more of a feudal system where the Buddhists were also warrior monks.
Yeah, but Buddhism in India came from Buddhism in Japan.
Correct.
And that's kind of where I'm going off of with my education. When I say Buddhist, I'm talking Buddhist in Japan.
Uh-oh.
Well, then you get into, I have a little issue with, I'm not talking about all Japanese, but, you've seen what happened in the rape of Nanking and, and then you have their philosophy, their Buddhist philosophy, and and Japan never apologized to China for that either. So that's not very Buddhist-like.
Yeah, but all Japanese don't claim to be Buddhist either.
I understand that, but
I mean, one thing for sure, if I was going to judge an entire society off of the actions of a few idiots in that society, I would be hard put. So, you know, here we find ourselves jumping down that rabbit hole that I kind of figured we would, of harm none. Go ahead. Somebody was going to say.
I wasn't saying anything. I was just laughing.
Well, yeah, you know, we're jumping way down that rabbit hole of, and if we carry it on into the same discussion, the same topic, you take harm none, right? You combine that with what do no harm, and you combine that with people's idea of black and white. The whole point to the whole thing is there's no such thing as black and white. The world is gray. The world is full of colors and different schemes and different philosophies and ideas and different ways of doing things. The idea of talking to people through the years of this path that I've been on, I've heard people that specifically absolutely say categorically, this is the only thing that's right. No, it's not. Right and wrong, yeah. Debbie, we'll agree to disagree. I agree. Right and wrong is as personal as religion itself. The point of creeds, if you will, and if you don't know what the word creed means, Google it. You'll come up with thousands of different answers for the word creed. Each path you follow, each religion you follow, is subjective. You know, it's subjective to what's right and wrong for you. When you're talking about human race, you're talking about humans that want to take things with a literal philosophy of that's right, that's wrong. Life isn't about that. Wouldn't you say? Anybody?
What was that again? Sorry. I need to put my hearing aids in.
Well, that's all right. The idea of right and wrong, the idea of that's right and that's wrong, or because that's against my creed, then it's wrong. That's not the way life works. You can't expect the world of the human population to function off of one particular specific philosophy. So what do you think about right and wrong? Is it concrete? Is it perspective? Is it philosophical? Harm none, we know, is not a black and white philosophy. So what do you think?
I believe there's too many shades of gray in between.
I mean, there's no room for protecting yourself in that harm none, right? So you're just supposed to lay back and never harm none. But yet, if you talk to Wiccans, oh, well, you can defend yourself in this situation. No, it doesn't say that. So I would never take an oath like that. Never to hurt any. I mean, you're going to hurt people in your life. You're going to hurt people in your life intentionally or unintentionally. You know, so taking a vow like that is kind of like a lie. You're never going to hurt anybody. That's, you know, I couldn't do that.
Well, see, and one of the ladies that I met back way early on when I was first starting out, their coven had a creed of, we do not set out to harm anyone. And that's kind of where you know, our creed in our particular grove comes at it from. We don't set out to hurt people. You know, we're all about defending ourselves. We're all about self-preservation. But the point to the whole thing is, it's like Lester said, there's too many different shades of gray. And for the people that are going to be watching our broadcast that are just thinking about paganism, they need to understand, you guys need to understand, that not all pagan paths follow one creed or philosophy. Like I say, there are hundreds and hundreds of pagan paths, just like there are hundreds and hundreds of denominations to Christianity.
Yeah, just like Debbie said, good rule for those learning can make them stop and think maybe something.
British traditional, they certainly don't do the harm none. They're pretty nice, but you know, I mean, they don't set out. I just don't agree with it. This harm none, you know, I would never take a vow like that.
Well, you know, and here's the thing. At the end of the day, it really doesn't make any difference if we agree with it or not. The thing with the understanding and the realization that simple answer is no. Harm none does not work in all pagan paths. So for those of you stepping out and wanting to understand more about paganism and the different paths of it, don't start out thinking that you have to follow one specific creed, philosophy, or ideology. Start out with the question: am I Christian? Am I pagan? Am I Jewish? Am I atheist? Am I agnostic? Am I don't know. And the good place to start is, I don't know. Because when you admit, I don't know, and you start out with an open mind and a fresh sense of things, then that gives you the ability, if you will, to be an open book, to talk to and listen to multiple different leaders of different organizations.
Religion didn't exist until man created it.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So the creator is very intelligent. Everything comes from, you know what I mean? It's so intelligent and it knows us. And it's like, what kind of religion is that? That's no religion, you know?
Well,
so I have my dog tag still back, even when I went in the Air Force back in '81. No religious preference. I'm still down. No religious preference.
Yeah.
You know, that's my religion. No religious preference. So, you know, if I die in the VA, who knows who's going to be coming talking over me? I could care less.
Yeah, once you're dead, it really doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of difference, does it? But even then, even with that, when my grandmother passed, one of the requests that she made of me was that I perform the rites of passage over her, and which I did. But humans, as far as we know, granted, we don't talk porpoise, and we don't talk ape, and we don't talk snake, contrary to Harry Potter. Humans are the only known creature on the planet that has a need for spiritualism and our religions of one shape, kind, or another. And so philosophies are developed in each religion that gives us a foundation to stand on. I mean, any of us could very easily flip down one road or the other of atheist or a faith-based philosophy.
No.
Why?
Well, yeah, I guess we could, but it would have to be something pretty dramatic.
Well, what I meant by that was, and I didn't mean it cut and dry, it's very easy for any person to wake up one morning and make a choice to shut everything down. Decide all of a sudden they don't believe in anything. Now, it may not happen for you, it may not happen for me, and it may not happen for anybody listening to the video or listening to our broadcast at any point. But the statement is, it's very easy for a person to wake up one morning and decide there's nothing there. The reasons are their own. The philosophies are their own, judged by the fallout of their own life, things that have happened to them. So in that, go ahead.
Just a lot of people need a religion to be validated, and I guess, I don't know, that's just human nature. I just don't feel the need to be. It's nice to be around people that are like yourself, but I just don't need to be validated.
Right.
You know, and I think that's why a lot of people like religion, because they like to be validated. And you have these preachers, they're called to preach the gospel. Well, what it is they just use the congregation as a mirror to help them actually believe what they're actually teaching. And so they use the congregation to do that. It's kind of twisted, but that's just the way people are. So they have to have a religion. It has to be like a controlled thing, and you put the creator in a box. And I just can't wrap my head around religion. Like, this is, you put it in here, and that's for me.
Well, in many cases, you're absolutely right. There are there are people out there, and of course, I can only speak. I can only speak for myself. Okay. I don't do me personally. I don't do what I do for self-validation. I do what I do because I enjoy people. I enjoy learning from people. I mean, all of the years that we had House of Pagans, and its different names that we called it, the philosophy was always the same. You know, let's sit in a circle and share wisdom, philosophies, and ideas. But there are people out there that, and I agree, that do need self-validation. But even still, we still come back to that number one idea of the topic. One specific philosophy does not mean that the entirety of a particular religion follows that one specific philosophy. So, no. Harm done is not in all pagan paths. Those of us that don't follow it, it is what it is. You know, me personally, I don't have a problem with harm none, because I realize and understand that no phrase can be absolute. The phrase, that's illegal. That's what they got lawyers for, to argue the concreteness of that phrase. In other religions, the phrase, that is a sin. It's what they got preachers and priests and what ministers and what have you to argue the philosophy of that phrase. So each path, each religion, each philosophy, and each thought, we have to understand, is not necessarily black and white. There's different ideas, different theories, different philosophies, and we need to not necessarily live those philosophies, but we do need to accept them as other people's philosophies. I don't have to agree with it to accept it. I don't have to agree to live with it to accept it. But it is what it is. Well, unless anybody else has anything else to add, I'm thinking we're going to bugger off and give you the rest of your day back. What do you think? What anybody else got anything else they want to add? Any announcements with all of this chaos going on right now around the world? Anybody have any supportive announcements they want to do for the pagan community?
Well, I'm not sure about the pagan community as a whole, but humanity as a whole in the United States is about to get a boost in their income of $3,000 if they pass this bill tomorrow.
I've heard say of that. Of course, I'll believe it when I see the
Me
money.
too.
I'll
Right.
believe it when I see the money.
I don't know if it's gonna be that much. I thought it was 1,500 for kids. It depends on income too. It's every which way.
For family. So basically $3,000 a household.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I'd be
But I
nice.
don't think it's that.
If it don't go all into the politicians' pockets.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very carefully not going to touch that one.
Politics is a whole nother thing besides religion.
Boy. Right.
Yeah, so I think about that's all we got to say on this subject.
Well, all right. So I am going to tell everybody: wash your hands, practice social distancing, um, pick up your phone, call your neighbor, um, pick up your phone, your computer, your keyboard, whatever, and check on your family. Say, hey, just checking in. How's everything going? People need to check on people. However you do that, right? I'm absolutely practicing social distancing as much as I can, and when I make the daily runs to Walmart for the pickup, I tell the person that's bringing out the groceries, that's okay. I don't need to sign it. I saw you load it, and I'm fine with that. And by the way, thank you very much for your service and being out here in this craziness loading groceries for people. Your service is appreciated. And also remember to thank your first responders. Oh my God, your hospital people, emergency workers, police, fire responders, ambulance drivers. There's a boatload of people out there putting themselves in harm's way. So let's light our candles for them. If you pray, pray. If you cast. If you light candles, do whatever the hell you do. But let's get behind the first responders, and let's give them a boost, and say thank you to the people that are still working, bagging your groceries and carrying them out to you.
I had to give up my new job because I'm not going to stand in a truck stop and sell legal services to truck drivers, because that's like a petri dish. And if I get this stuff, I'm at a high risk of death. So, I can't do that anymore. But I am going to try to get a job delivering pizzas. And then a friend of mine is getting ready to start a detail, like a car detail business. So we'd be working outside for a while. So that'll be all right. But I got to do what I got to do.
Oh, absolutely. Whatever works for you. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Cover your face. But on that, everybody have a wonderful day and a great week, and we'll catch you next time here on Open Pagan Church. We're going to bugger off and get ready for Live with the Shaman, which will be coming up at 11 o'clock a.m. Central Time. Hope to see you there. Have a great day.